Where we think AI is going on the other side is really understanding you and building that trust, where you can build your trusted profile, and it's basically some people call it assistance, but it really is this mirror to you that you can then utilize that context towards anything that you're doing, any activity you're doing, purchasing, obviously e-commerce.
Lance and Nigel, thank you so much for coming on the show. Found out you guys were Giants fans, so apologies for the Dodgers hoodie that I am wearing. But nonetheless, it is incredible to have both of you. What you're doing at Vantage Discovery is quite incredible and pretty unique. Like, as I've done a deep dive on this thing this morning, it's pretty cool. Maybe, Lance, we'll start with you as CEO. Tell us what Vantage Discovery is and how you became to be the CEO of this thing.
Sure, yeah. So Vantage Discovery, we're a generative AI-powered SaaS platform. So we enable intelligent search, discovery, personalized recommendations, so that e-commerce can be, just amazing for customer experiences. They can find what they want. We can personalize those experiences for them. A lot of how we got here is just a career backgrounds in search discovery. We're talking early days, Internet 1.0. Working on early commerce vendors. And then at Yahoo, we were in Yahoo Research, kind of the early days of what was called big data, building out the personalized search and recommendations for Yahoo. Did a couple of startups, and then the last startup I did got acquired by Pinterest. So Pinterest was really where we got thrown into a place where we had massive people pinning things together. If I don't know if your audience is familiar with Pinterest, but you can pin your interests, your clothing, your lifestyle, these type of things, and we can learn from it. And we really wanted to use that to be able to turn that into a shopping platform. And so that was what I was in charge of there, was like understanding the content that was coming in, figuring out your vibe, your style, your interests, and then matching the right perfect outfit to you. Or when you search for chair, like making sure those chairs fit the living room and style that you were. In order to do that at the scale that Pinterest was at and is today, and they're very much a shopping platform today, and moving on, we had to invent a lot of new technologies, and we had to use a lot of the AI that you see now powering ChatGPT and what people call Gen AI today, right? And a lot of the early tech of that we were playing with and using to understand visual components, understand the semantics of what you were talking about, pull that all in together, and then built an engine around that. Fast forward a few years, Nigel and I are off doing other things, and I got pulled back into working with the co-founder of Pinterest on some projects, and Gen AI was exploding, and this idea started coming back like, hey, Gen AI is now everywhere. All these models, these ways of interacting with this, these large Gen AI models, how could we harness that and then allow anybody that has an e-commerce site to really kind of leapfrog their current kind of, pretty crappy search experiences in a lot of these places, where very frustrated users are, going there saying, I want, a certain type of shoe, or I want this style, and then they get crappy results. They just go to Google, and Google's making hundreds of billions of dollars because everyone just goes to them to do it. And it's like, hey, we really could take this technology and give that power much more to a lot more of these retailers and brands. And so Evan Sharp, who I was working with, he's the one that really started encouraging this. And I called up Nigel and said, what do you think? Should we do this? And we hooked up together, raised our seed round, and this is how we kicked off getting this started almost 2 years ago now.
So how did you go about raising money, Nigel? Like, what was the idea and strategy behind that?
Oh, when Lance called up, it was a no-brainer to join him. We've been friends for 25 years, worked together at multiple companies. And, the idea that we had to kind of rebuild a lot of this core search engine that we had at Pinterest, but make it available to all retailers and bring that kind of power that Pinterest had around personalization to any retailer, was a story we knew would resonate pretty well with both investors and obviously retailers. And so, we reached out to a number of the folks that had encouraged us to start this. And these are very, connected folks, folks like Biz Stone, one of the co-founders of Twitter, and Johnny Ive from Apple fame and now at Love From, building out amazing things there, and obviously Evan Sharp. And so, between them and the folks they knew, it was quite easy for us to raise a seed round.
And then the how's it been going so far? Like, at what point have you guys felt like, hey, we're really onto something here? Was it right away, or did it take a couple of iterations? Like, as you were building this thing, at what point were you like, all right, so our thesis is correct?
I think that, the thesis around how customers would love this, we'd kind of proven out through our careers, right? Like we knew like what is crap and what is like an amazing experience and what works. So I think that vision has always been rock solid. Like we knew the key piece we need to do is like making sure that these retailers knew that there was something better for them and that we could provide it, right? So that was the key. So, the first part was building the tech so that we could get to a place where we could, what we call a show, not tell. Like we can talk, there's a lot of confusion in the market. Everyone can say like, oh, we've got an AI search or semantic search or these types of things. But being able to actually prove it before we can go out and crawl someone's content and then show it in a UI to them, saying like, hey, try it out, and demonstrate that. That was the key piece. So once we got to that, then we started going out and using this to show customers what was possible, right?
Yeah, I think those initial demos we put together were really, like in that vein of show not tell, and just help people understand what they could do with this kind of technology. Yes, you can have natural language search for products, right? But that's sort of the entry, the bread and butter, the needed next step for any of these retailers. But look beyond that into more advanced search and discovery experiences. Like I want to search by maybe my style, all the way up to sort of personalization, individual personalization. And so those initial demos that kind of brought out some of these more advanced capabilities, really, I think, opened a lot of eyes to what's possible here.
You mentioned something interesting there around this whole idea of everyone's now an AI startup, right? And for the most part, all that really means is they have like a ChatGPT account.
Yeah.
So how do like consumers or even like CEOs and leaders who watch or listen to this show tell the difference, know the difference, and if they're going to put AI on their website, what should be there should be like some sort of accreditation thing. I think it'd be kind of cool. But what should be the threshold if you're going to put AI in your name? What should it be?
You mean if you want one of our retailer or like one of our customers or someone out there that wants to have AI and not just throw a chat bot and see if people use it or not? I mean, to me, it doesn't move your fundamental metrics, right? And there's a lot of how we developed our technology was because we had experience with it, 4 or 5 years before it hit mainstream, right? So we've been iterating on what it means to actually use AI to make a customer happy, and that includes like really understanding people and what they want and how they understand product, and then products, and be able to take someone's feed, like a product feed, and then combine that with this AI so that to build these experiences. So I would say if you want to have AI work, if you integrate it into your system, it should drastically move metrics, meaning you should have customers that are delighted, find, a lot less drops, a lot less, hey, I couldn't find what I was looking for, return visitors, lifetime value of your customers because they want to go back to you. They don't need to go to Google to find it. Be like, oh, I love going to company X because the experience was so great there. So those are the things that you'll see change if you've implemented AI correctly.
And Nigel, you mentioned a list of Silicon Valley legends, and I wonder, finding out that you guys are Giants fans, meaning you most likely live and have built this company in Silicon Valley. There was this idea, particularly like at the beginning of the pandemic, or maybe like through the first half of it, that Silicon Valley is experiencing an exodus almost. I don't really get the sense. I never really got the sense that was true, but in particular right now, it seems like it's still the startup capital of the world. Can you give us a sense for, the state of Silicon Valley right now?
Well, you're kind of talking to the divide right here because Lance actually escaped Silicon Valley just before the pandemic hit and now lives in Austin while I am still in San Jose. So you got both sides of
Yeah,
this.
this is what I want. Yeah, I want to hear both
Yes.
Well,
sides.
except for I'm a frequent flyer too. So, I mean, I think I spent most of early last year in Silicon Valley back and forth. So
Yeah.
it is a true
I'm gonna,
statement that like, our investors, key partnerships, things like that are absolutely still in Silicon Valley.
And that's why he was coming back, was primarily for our investment roadshow for our A round. And that's clearly still here in the Valley. This is still where sort of the decisions are being made around funding. But then I think we are finding founders and others sort of leaving this area to live where they want, build a team, maybe distributed around the country or even offshore, which is exactly what we've done. Our team spans from Hawaii time zone to Eastern time zone, and we all work remotely. And then we do have a couple offshore teams as well that work really closely with us.
Yeah, I'll reiterate that. I think, while the VCs and the money and kind of those core things in Valley still, I mean, obviously there's VCs everywhere, but that seems to be the core. Talent, you find talent everywhere, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's
Yeah, when you can figure out the distributed model, make it work for you, all of a sudden your talent pool is the world rather than,
yes.
who's in the hour radius of your office. Right.
Yeah, and I'll say that's one of our key strengths because obviously Nige is, and both of the Niges especially been the person to figure out how to expand large companies like Pinterest and others overseas, right, and build distributed offices around the U.S. or wherever. So we kind of have that DNA to be able to know how to believe and trust in your distributed team, and make them produce in a happy part of the company way, right?
Yeah, Nigel, tell us how you find like these remote kind of like offshore teams. That would be great to kind of get a bit of sense for.
I mean, I think one thing about building any kind of distributed team, onshore, offshore, a mix of both, is communication amongst that team is really, really important. So, and I don't mean just slapping up Slack, and making sure everyone can talk to everyone. I think providing context, continual communication, for folks getting together in person occasionally, for offshore teams going and visiting them, a couple times a year, is super effective at making them feel understood, heard, part of the team. And so, one of the practices I've done at this company and other companies is a daily update. Where it's sort of what I'm hearing, seeing that others can respond to. I think some of our leaders have taken that over now at Vantage Discovery and are providing daily updates in various ways to their teams. And that level of hyper communication, you might call it, is really, really important to help keep everyone on the same page. And it's the kind of communication you'd naturally have if you were all together, right? Yes, it takes time, it takes effort, it's not free, but it is super effective, and it amplifies your own kind of impact as a leader if everyone kind of has the same context or as much context as possible. In terms of finding remote teams, that is a real trick. I think in our case, we definitely got lucky with some referrals. I think it often, you do want ideally some referrals, folks that you can talk to that have worked with these teams overseas, and then I always like sort of a little bit of a trial period, and then if lean all in, right? We've got a team in Eastern Europe. And right off the bat, once we knew this was the team we wanted to work with, we went and visited them. And none of their other clients had ever come to visit them. And it meant the world to them. They absolutely love working on our project. Everyone at that company wants to work on what we're doing. And we just see a lot more engagement and excitement and buy-in for this group that, ultimately aren't technically employees of our company, but they definitely feel like they are.
It's not often I have the CEO and COO on here, and so this question is going to be particularly interesting for our viewers and listeners, just to get a sense for the differences of those roles. And that is like, what does a typical day look like for each of you?
Sure, I'll start with that. So, but you pointed out like the CEOs, COO. Nigel and I have known each other for 25 years and have worked on and off throughout that. We've had very tightly, and the level of trust and that we have between each other, as well as kind of the yin and yang of our personalities, I would call it, just blends so well. So I think that it's very easy for us to hand off or know who's taking what and why, and Nigel keeps the balls rolling, everything lined up, in such a beautiful way, that leaves me to like help to go find the hot spots or to to work on other pieces. So like my day, to get back to your question, it's, we're very much in, there's startup life, and then there's startup life that we're in right now. What I mean by that is like, there's actually this kind of like honeymoon period when you start a startup where you got the idea, you got the funding, and then you just go, and just everyone's like cranking and building. And it's not easy, but there's a lot of pieces to that. We're now in the go to market, build everything out, scale the company piece. And so every day as a CEO and is different, right? There are one day you're talking, to customers. One day you're trying to land a key employee, and all this is happening. So my day starts with getting calm. So like literally, meditating and just taking time to just understand what is the most important thing is, health of my family, these type of things, right? And having a good solid base. Without that, I would go insane, honestly. And then going through like the calendar, really kind of like strategizing what are the most important things. Like you won't be able to hit everything, so what are the most key important things. And I think that's the key skill of a CEO is seeing through all of the massive stuff coming at you. Like what is the most important thing I can do now, and what can I do? And so that's what I do in the morning is kind of like get that centered, and then I can and then I go and Nigel and I meet up. And so, when Nigel and I meet up and go through and kind of correlate that, yes, these are the important things, who's going to take what and where. And then we have meetings throughout the day, which can vary depending on these needs, right?
Yeah, and I think I have a similar start to my day where it's meditation, and then like Lance said, we get together every day, just like we would if we were in an office. Again, I think that's really important that we're communicating, we're on the same page, we have the same priorities, right? Any indecision at the top is felt, is magnified further down in the organization. So super important that we're aligned, start our day each that way. And then, again, my day varies. Typically starting something. It's been said that, at a bigger company, you might start something every week or every month, but at a startup, you have to start like 5 things a day. There's always something to get going, to get started, to kick off, because there's a lot going on. The rest of the industry is moving so quickly around you. And that's one of the things I love about this role, actually. I've come to really, really enjoy having a lot of fun in the COO role.
How are you? I mean, how big could this company get? As I was looking at it, I was like, man, this could be a massive, massive company. How are you guys thinking about like the total addressable market, competitors, the landscape, all that type of stuff? It seems like you have a bit of a head start on the technology front. Give us a sense for that. I mean, if this thing works, it works pretty big, right?
Yeah, I mean, we see this as a fundamental change that hasn't happened in probably 25 years for the e-commerce market specifically. There's a lot of other use cases for our technology that go well beyond e-commerce, but we're kind of planting there first. What we mean by that is that the opportunity to take away what has happened, where most consumers go to Google or Amazon today and start their journey to find a product there because of all these very poor experiences everywhere else, right? So we think that as this breaks out, people want these personal, connected experiences with their retailer or their brand. That every brand has that opportunity now to make those connections. And you can think of this as like a Pinterest-like experience where I could be on a retail and be like, this is the things I like. Here's my Instagram account, or here's my Pinterest, or I want to upload a photo, or I start collecting the things I like to show you what it means to what I want to personalize your products to me. And every retailer, every brand really wants that ultimately, is to have that connection. So the addressable market, I think, is massive as that whole shift. And like, I got to think and translate all what I want into these keywords, and then kind of like go and peruse, and then click and go link down to like, no, here's what I mean, right? Here's who I am. Now I want to shop that way.
And so I think it's not the former e-commerce TAM, right? We view this next era as AI commerce, and with a much bigger addressable TAM because of the additional capabilities, the increase in metrics and lift that this kind of technology can bring to retailers. And then, yeah, there's a horizontal play here. This platform is generally applicable to any information or data that needs to intelligence attached to it. And so, there's many other industries that this platform can service beyond retail, but that's where we're focused right now is retail, e-commerce, AI commerce, and advertising.
I mean, I know that this is a question that has no answer because it's unknown, and you probably get this all the time. But I'm interested in it because you guys are so deep in this. Is what does AI look like next 5 to 10 years?
So, there's this whole effort around AI and reasoning and being able to reason that, I wouldn't say we're on the bleeding edge of that. We're kind of a fast follow to see where that goes. Where we think AI is going on the other side is really understanding you and building that trust where you can build your trusted profile, and it's basically some people call it assistance, but it really is this mirror to you that you can then utilize that context towards anything that you're doing, any activity you're doing, purchasing, obviously e-commerce, where it knows intrinsically every little detail about you in a trusted way. So you own that trust, you own that profile, and then you can use it as a tool to augment anything that you need to do or to achieve. And that can come out in a lot of ways. And obviously, shopping and this personalized shopping is a lot of that. But it could be in going out and actually, doing any type of activity that you need done for you that's personalized, whether, from grocery shopping to making connections for you, anything like that.
Yeah, I think it's a really exciting time to be in this field and see the tools that are coming out and how those are helping consumers. I think this notion of agents is really exciting, and definitely kind of watching to see how that maybe moves into the retail space. You could imagine a future where you have sort of a personal shopper curating a personal store for you, bringing together products from different places to put in front of you to make kind of the final decision. So things like that are really, really exciting, and we're working with a few large marketplaces actually that have some of this vision and are thinking kind of down the road what this could look like.
Speaking 2024 is kind of an interesting macroeconomic environment. Some industries are doing really well, some industries not. Prices, inflation, all that type of stuff. We had an election, all that type of stuff kind of goes into it. Now we have some uncertainty, some certainty over kind of where we're going to be in 2025. What's your outlook? How are you looking at and planning for the next year?
Yeah. Do you want to cover it?
So we've got a good amount of runway having just raised in the spring. So we can definitely weather quite a few ups and downs. We weren't really sure how this election was going to go and what it might do to consumer confidence. But from what we can tell, the folks that thought the economy was in the toilet now after the election seem to be much brighter about it. So maybe that will lead to kind of more consumer spending confidence. So and we've got the runway to kind of see this through and really start to show retailers how this can help their bottom line.
Yeah, I'll add that. So, a lot of, our tech, we believe what's going to happen in 2025 is this vision of having a much more personal connection to your consumers is going to almost erupt. It's like the fast fall to what ChatGPT did to information. Now it's going to turn to personalization and that trust factor. So we see a lot of retailers and brands needing this, and we feel 2025 is the year where that's going to happen, right? Where there's going to be this almost awakening to the possibilities of this is what my connection, my retail experience can be.
Finally, we end every interview with the same question, and I want to be respectful of your time, and I want to give you guys enough time to answer as well. So we'll end on this question for each of you, and you can't say each other. That can't be the answer to it. At CEO.com, we believe the chances one gives is just as important as the chances one takes. When you hear that, who gave you a chance to get you to where you are today? And we'll start with you, Nigel.
Well, I was going to say Lance, so you've cut me off at the knees there, given we've been friends for 25 years and he's pulled me along to lots of great opportunities. But, I think, I really felt like I found my some of my operational calling when I went to Pinterest and led technical program management, led infrastructure engineering, was chief of staff to a couple heads of engineering there. And so the person that hired me into Pinterest was Michael Lopp. And so I do credit him for sort of bringing me into much more operational side of things, which I've really, really enjoyed. So I'll go with him. He's now working at Apple, working on a number of search projects there.
Cool. So I also have a Pinterest connection on this. So when we were acquired into Pinterest, one of the key people there that really pushed forward and convinced us to go to Pinterest was Evan Sharp, who was the co-founder of Pinterest, and he's been threaded through many different parts of my professional career since then and personal life. I consider him a true friend. So not only did he help us get acquired into Pinterest, he then had a lot of ideas at Pinterest and was trying, and he was always someone I could go talk to and help make them happen. Right. Several different either big technology visions. He helped me create 2 or 3 different teams at Pinterest through that. And then after I left Pinterest, he's the one that called me up and said, "Hey, do you want to do some projects with Johnny Ive?" And I was like, "Okay, no, I'm not going to say no to that." And then was the one that pushed for, even suggested that we start a company around this, and then we still work and are tightly connected. So Evan, shout out to Evan. He's been instrumental for my making things and teaching me how to even be a CEO, and teaching me how to treat employees and run a company where the love of your employees and the love of your investors and your customers can be what's the center of it. So really appreciate it.
Lance, Nigel, incredible to have you. Congratulations on everything you've built. It's unbelievable. I think the product is unbelievable. Again, as I was researching this morning, I was like, holy crap, this thing could be huge. So congratulations on all of that. Congratulations on everything you've done, and appreciate you coming on the show.
Great. Thanks, Clint.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.